Alrighty. So I ended up having to dismiss the case, which was obviously not the outcome that I wanted and that I was working towards, but let me just give the most brief synopsis ever. Basically, there was stalking and harassment from this guy that I dated for 4 months. When I finally did block him, he started reaching out over different means through different people, and that was just too much for me. So I filed for a restraining order. I only got like halfway through my story and I got granted the temporary protection order. But how the legal system works, at least in Colorado in the US, I think this is pretty standard for all the US, is that I need to figure out a way to serve him a temporary restraining order so then he can have the opportunity to come to court and defend himself against a permanent order. However, I was never able to serve him. It's been like a month and a half. I, have known where he was on multiple occasions, and I've tried third party, I've tried private process, but that was a bit too expensive. I've tried using sheriffs in the areas that he's been because he's homeless too, so that doesn't really make things easy when there's no address to find this person. Using the sheriffs, the only helpful sheriff was the one in Washington, but the most recent one in Vail, I gave them locations, I gave them times to go check. They didn't even check at the right times that this individual would have been there. And it gets to a point where it's been like a month and a half, and I was talking to the judge about it during my hearing today, and I was like, I feel like I'm stalking him. And she assured me, she said, no, don't worry, like that's not what is happening here. You're just trying to serve him. He's evading service. But it has really just been difficult given the circumstances, his evasion. You may remember that I filed for substitute service and it got approved to his old roommate. But when she got served, she lied and said that they never lived together, that they hadn't spoken in years, even though they had lived together just 2 months prior. That service was unfortunately void. And damn, I've just tried so many things and I've delayed my travels for this. Now I have work trip coming up. So the next hearing would have been during that work trip, and sure, I could get it delayed, but I bought this van to go explore the West. I have every intention of doing that, and I'm just going to do that. And the blessing about being in a van is I'm a bit harder to find as well. So I worry less about the stalking, but I do plan on coming back in Colorado in the winter, and I have a feeling he would be out here. So it may come to bite me in the future. The judge was really sympathetic for my situation, and she said I could reopen it in the future if I wanted to. That's an option for me, but I asked her just to dismiss the case, and I think I'm just ready to move on from this, move past this. It sucks too because there were other women who have had similar experiences with him that I had reached out to or was told about and had reached out to. He just has this pattern of behavior. It's not just me, and I fear for other women who may have to experience this from him. And I feel like if you have this pattern of behavior, if you have a police report against you from one girl, if you stalked your ex-girlfriend for a year, these are separate fucking testimonies from mine. I think you deserve to have something put on your permanent record. I don't know if you should be able to own a gun. There's all these things where it's like he evaded service enough where this won't go on his permanent record, but I think it deserves to be there. It's so unfair that he gets to harass people, stalk people, treat people this way. And I just wish I could warn everybody because I wish I had a warning. You know? I have to come back every 2 weeks empty-handed, no service, just to extend the temporary protection again. But the temporary protection isn't even intact because he hasn't been served the temporary protection. So it's been a month and a half of basically nothing. I'm so upset with the legal system, how it's my responsibility to serve him, how I'm not protected until he's served, how he can just evade service with no consequences, how his ex-roommate can lie to a sheriff and that's not considered obstruction of justice. And his ex-roommate, she has daughters too. This individual had these stalking allegations from a previous ex. that was friends with his ex-roommate, and she still chose to bring him into her home to live around her small children, and then to defend him and lie for him when the sheriff comes to the door. And I just hope, too, that when her daughters grow up and she has to interact with some fuck asses in this world, she won't be jumping to their defense either. But it's hard to say, because there's this normalization of this fucked up behavior in this country. And sure, there's laws in place to protect me, but the hoops that I have to jump through to gain that protection. I'm a bit gutted that I can't continue this after the work and the effort and the money I put into this. Also, for my own sanity, I just need to move on with my life. Pursuing this has just made it impossible to move on. And it sucks because next week I leave to Miami on a work trip, and when I come back, I'll be in the very position that he stalked me at the airport. Because beginning of March, he insisted on picking me up from the airport, and I told him multiple times, please don't do that. I didn't tell him my flight information. I didn't tell him when I'd be landing. I didn't tell him any of that. He just knew the day from when we were dating. He not only shows up to the airport 8 hours before I land, but he purchases a ticket to go through security and wait at the gate that I'm arriving at. That's fucking insane. That's insane. And I call him out and I tell him this is stalking. And he's too delusional to even realize that. And that's what's scary. You think you know these people, and then they pull some absolutely insane shit like that. And it really just makes you question everything. And as I've collected evidence for this case, and as I've had to reach out to people to try to locate him, to serve him, I just uncovered this web of lies that not only is it hurtful, but it's terrifying that somebody can conduct themselves in this manner. And I think I have a lot of hurt that I haven't been able to resolve because I've had to put on a brave face and walk into that courtroom every 2 weeks to try to keep moving this forward. But now that's done, I'm just ready to move on from it. And I really hope that I never have to see this person again. But I don't know if I will. I don't know if it would be a safe interaction. It's just really scary. It's really scary. That was my last court hearing about it. I'm ready to start my drive up to Washington after this work trip. It's just gonna suck being in that airport again, getting off that plane and walking to arrivals and just fearing who's gonna be around the corner. I don't think he would be, but I don't know. Once I get out of Colorado, though, I think I'll feel a lot better about it. Once I get some space from it, once I stop devoting the mental energy to it, I think I'll feel a lot better. I'm in Denver again, but this is the last time I'm going to be in Denver until I come out again for the winter, when I take my van back to Colorado for a beautiful winter, for some snowboarding, to see all my people, and just to enjoy the winter wonderland that is the Colorado mountains. Got a lot of paperwork, mostly evidence, thick stack, that I need to go burn. I think that'll feel like a really nice release to not be tied to this shit anymore. And hopefully it sends some sort of signal out to the universe that this is something that I can move past from and won't have to affect my life again. So, yeah, let's go do it.
Paul, of all the things my stalker ex fucking stalked me with. Hold on. I actually need to. Would you like one? In a beamer, that's a big deal. Chrome heart, got me kissing on his best friend. Put in work, baby, you could be my best man. Sending cash to my account, he investing. Dark shades on when I'm off the Migos. He's tryna cuff me like a nigga in a Rico. Moving through this shit like GTA with a cheat code. He claimed that he love me, but be fucking all the freak hoes. I just wanna dance all night. Can't nobody do it just like I. Boy, you got just what I like. Come on, baby, let's kiss, don't fight. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. What you wanna do? Tell me what you like. Just say the word, baby, I'ma get you right.